Thanks, Riaz. Good morning. There is good news for thousands of drivers who commute between Mission and Hope. The Dewdney Bridge has once again reopened to traffic. Drivers can expect single-lane alternating traffic, and some minor delays are also expected. Since last Thursday, drivers had to take a 90-minute detour using Highway 1 after a 10-inch dip was discovered in the middle of the bridge. Engineers said a steel cap supporting the structure was damaged, causing the bridge deck to settle on a support beam. Crews worked around the clock to jack up the bridge and replace the cap. Here's another reason to slow down as you make your way across the Patello Bridge. A TransLink consultant's report suggests vehicles going more than double the speed limit along the 50-km/h stretch lead to more serious head-on collisions. Findings also point to the fact the bridge railings are not strong enough to prevent a car from plunging off of it. Fire crews are investigating after an overnight fire at an abandoned apartment building in East Vancouver. Crews were called out about 12:30 this morning to Knight Street near 16th Avenue. Witnesses reported seeing squatters in the building. There are no reported injuries. BC Hydro says power has been fully restored after a gusty afternoon across much of the south coast. Strong winds were reported right across the region for much of Sunday. Thousands of customers were left in the dark across the Lower Mainland, Sunshine Coast, and parts of northern Vancouver Island. One of the biggest outages impacted more than 1,600 homes in Burnaby, Coquitlam, and Port Moody. There's less than a month to go until Canadians head to the polls. Now, on the heels of another year of successful Terry Fox runs across the country, the Conservatives have made a funding announcement. Outgoing MP James Moore says if re-elected to the government, the Tories will match funds raised for the Terry Fox Foundation to a maximum of $35 million. Maureen Harper was on hand for the event. Moore dismissed suggestions the party was politicizing a national hero by making the cancer funding pledges on the same day as the Terry Fox runs.
It would be a missed opportunity to not have a moment like this on the day of the run to make sure that people know that going forward we want to match donations to the foundation. I think it's a good news announcement that's being very well received.
The Terry Fox Foundation says it welcomes new investment commitments in cancer research from any and all political parties. Speaking of politics, the Green Party is being excluded from yet another federal leadership debate, but this time Elizabeth May is taking legal action. The Greens spoke to the Canada Revenue Agency, that is, asking to have the ARIA Foundation stripped of its charitable status. The organization is the sponsor for the upcoming Monk Leaders debate, which will take place in Toronto on September 28th. The Income Tax Act prohibits charitable foundations from directly or indirectly supporting or opposing any political party or candidate. The leaders of the Conservatives, Liberals, and the NDP took part in a debate last week. Elizabeth May was not invited. Downtown Vancouver was much busier than usual over the weekend. 3 cruise ships carrying nearly 13,000 tourists flooded into the downtown core through Canada Place on Sunday. There were long lineups of taxis waiting to serve the new arrivals and a lot more congestion in the area than normal. Port Metro Vancouver says 800,000 tourists have come through the cruise ship terminal so far this summer. Miley Cyrus spent her weekend in a remote part of our province, continuing her fight to stop BC's wolf cull. The pop star spent time with kids in the small community of Klemtu, singing with them while on a boat. A petition to save the wolves backed by Cyrus was launched by the group Pacific Wild. She was in our province to meet with the group. The province says the wolf cull is the best course of action to protect caribou from extinction. Others say the plan blames wolves when instead the government that has allowed forest and resource companies to destroy caribou habitat. Downward dog poses are to be expected, but this yoga class is all about the cats. Cats on Mats yoga event was held yesterday afternoon. It was put on to benefit the Vancouver Orphan Kitten Rescue to raise awareness about cat homelessness and overpopulation in our region. The nonprofit group rescues about 1,800 animals each year.
You know, you'd think with all the work we've been doing with spay-neuter over the past decade that the problem would be going away, but in the past 2 years we've actually gone up in our numbers. So it's really concerning that people aren't spaying and neutering and that are letting their cats get outside and reproduce.
I quote Bob Barker, have your pet spayed or neutered.
Yeah, we're starting a whole new thing, a downward cat too, right?
Right?
So,
Meow.